Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am back with another client conversation with the beautiful Ameenah, who has been an honor to work with on the Healing Embrace. And we're going to talk a little bit about your journey today, Ameenah. Really just kind of thinking about what the program helped you and supported you with. But before we dive into that, I want to know, what was it that brought you to the program? What was it that inclined you to say, I need to do some healing work?
Walaikum salam, by the way. Just quickly, my manners in check. So I think what brought me to the program, I feel like it was actually guidance from Allah anyway. I remember we had an initial conversation, which was maybe last year, December, and I wanted to do the other program, and I wasn't quite ready to do that one. But what had brought me to you at the time to do that was that I'd started to do a bit of soul searching, not as something that's continuous, isn't it? But I was doing a bit of digging for myself, trying to peel back the layers of the onion, in a sense, because I just knew I had stuff that I needed to deal with. Right. I knew I had underlying stuff that I needed to deal with, and I felt like I felt comfortable after, I've been following you for a while. I felt like I was most comfortable coming to you. I'd sort out counselling. Well, I hadn't sorted it out, but I'd started to look at the idea of going to counselling. And I thought to myself, I don't really want to do counselling because I don't really just want to talk at somebody. I want to actually acquire the tools to be able to carry on the work with myself. Yeah, so that was kind of where it began for me.
Yeah, I remember that conversation we had. And I remember I actually sent you away with a preliminary task, because it was a bit like, okay, I do want to, but I'm not sure I'm ready to do this work yet. And, it's actually from seeing other women like you who needed something to segue them into the deeper work that made my team and I think, okay, we need to have some healing work done, because when women have gone through some things, they don't even see themselves as worthy of even investing in themselves and doing that big work to work on themselves. We need to really dig deep and look at emotional wounds and emotional issues that are actually stopping them from being able to take that step and say, yeah, I want to do this. For you, what would you say let you know that it was time? Because there are women who will find themselves in a similar situation as you found yourself in, and they'll keep staying in that state. So what was it for you that was like, yeah, now I need to check myself now?
So I've just recently gone through a divorce, and I think I was looking at myself on the days when I was better and saying, you recognize that you need to do this now. Don't wait for the past. Do it now while you're feeling everything that you're feeling, while you're vulnerable, while you're in the moment. Don't wait. Don't try to tie this up yourself, basically. Yeah, that was what kind of made me.
It's interesting you say that, though, because I hear women who will book a call, right, to talk to me, and then they will cancel because they're like, I actually feel okay now. I'm cool. But they don't know that that cool feeling is just a little bit of a lull before they step back into.
I felt that.
Yes.
But you know what? When I went through that, I was like, no, this is not it. I need LaYinka now.
Yeah.
So I knew that. Do you know what it was as well? I had said to myself that if I'd said to myself beforehand, if something was to happen, then you're going to feel it. And at that point, if you feel it, then you haven't resolved anything. All of these things that you think you've resolved, they're gonna, if it comes back to you, take it at that moment. So like I said, it was on a good day. And I don't know if you remember the text that I sent you. I need it. And it was on your live. You'd been doing a live that day. You did a live that day to talk about, I
One of
think
my
you was
triggering lives.
the healing embrace. You was talking about healing embrace, but you didn't say the name of the course.
Yeah.
So I think I literally had messaged you on WhatsApp, and then I went onto Instagram and you was doing a live. I was like, yep, let me go and see what LaYinka's saying. Went in there, I was like, yes, hell yeah. I messaged you. Can you see your WhatsApp?
I remember. I was like, oh, you messaged me. Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, this is the course. I think, last time is beautiful because I when I messaged you back in December, I didn't know I was going to be getting a divorce. I didn't know that was all going to happen. I had no idea. But you see how the thing set. It just was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it now. Wait, just wait. A last timing is beautiful, and throughout this whole course, I think it's just kept bringing me back to Allah. It's just kept bringing me back to Allah. Anyway, I know you're gonna go into the next bit. So
no, I love it. Go for it, because at the end of the day, I do want people to see I'm actually really curious to know, before we get into that, what were you expecting from the program?
I tried to relinquish any expectations other than I'm going to be better by the end of this.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting to be like, yeah, I'm healed. Oh my God, this is amazing. I wasn't expecting to be completely free of anything, but what I was expecting to be was better.
What was your definition of better? How did you define better for yourself?
I don't think I could define it. I just wanted better. I suppose if I had to define it, if I had to really think about it, to be free of the negative thoughts of myself, blame. All of this was subconscious, really, wasn't it? So, but I know, just knowing myself and where I was at when I was first looking at myself and saying there's all these underlying issues that you need to deal with.
Yeah.
I know that from past situations, what had come up for me in this situation with my divorce, it's the same things that had come up in the past, over and over again. And when we had that conversation, that first conversation, and you said, I think you actually said to me in that conversation, how about you don't see yourself? You actually said it in that conversation. When we had the surgery the other day and you said it was like, the blood just rushed to my head, like, she said this. She said this months ago. Now you're back here. Okay, conclusion, you can't run away from it.
Yeah. And you remember that even that task that I gave you to go away and do, it was to start the process of you finally seeing yourself, because you've been doing so much hiding of yourself through what you'd experienced. So I'm curious to know now, tell us, what was your journey? It's 6 weeks, yeah? So 6 weeks is not a long time. And when you think of 6 weeks, you think, just get a bit of a perk, feel a bit. So you tell the people who are watching what your 6 weeks journey on the healing embrace was like.
So honestly, I suppose there was a little skepticism because of this, for myself, because it wasn't about you, it was just about myself because of the self-doubt. So there was a little skepticism of, am I going to be any different by the end of this? But I was open, and I was open because I trusted you, and I trusted you to take us through the process. And I remember I said I'd wanted to do one-to-one work in the beginning, and I was a bit skeptical about, working in a group, I don't know what's going to happen here. But I embraced it, and I think that helped me. Being in a group, I don't think I realised how much being in a group of women who, although all of your experiences are different and all your situations are different and all of what you're going through is different, there's similarities in how we think and how we feel.
Yeah.
And we process that stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I think that just made the whole 6 weeks so much easier. So for me, the transition from the beginning to the end, I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked and I'm amazed at the same time that I've managed to get to this point and really feel it though, really feel it. That's the thing about it, because at the beginning it was like, am I really gonna feel it? And I got to the end, I'm like, no, yes, yes, you're feeling it, and you really are. And it's nice, it's nice. So when I get those, because obviously, like I said, it's a journey. It's not something that is just sealed, done, delivered. It's still a journey. But when I get those moments of self-doubt, now I'm catching the thoughts. I'm turning it around. I was talking to Yasmina the other day, and she was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and hypnotize myself. I was like, girl, okay, I think I might need to do something. Yes, we're using it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And as I shared with you ladies, right? It's a journey. So it's not like we don't get to the end of the 6 weeks and say we have made it, right? It's not to have made it, it's to reach a new station in your journey of life. Because we'll always have different stations as we kind of go through life. And this new station is where you can start seeing things differently, but more so yourself and also your past. And there is so much, I feel more, would you say that there's greater understanding about yourself and also your experiences that you've come through the 6 weeks of the program?
100%. 100%. I've been having so many conversations with people about it. Like yesterday, one of my friends was around here, and I was talking to her about the whole, just literally the journey, the whole 6 weeks, and how I feel it's given me that deeper insight into myself and into what, looking at parts of myself that I wouldn't have looked at before because I was too scared to look at them.
Yeah.
Or because I just wasn't ready to admit that. Because this is really about being honest. It's really about being honest with yourself. You have to be so honest with yourself, because you have to be prepared to admit things that you wouldn't really want anybody to know about you, that you wouldn't, and not necessarily you're gonna talk about it openly to other people, but you have to at least admit it to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And that is the most important thing, because it's the process of seeing yourself. And that's why we have journaling as such a massive part of the program, right? Because that's the place that you can really, really see yourself. I love what you mentioned about the apprehension of being in a group, because I'm gonna, like, that feeling of exposure and vulnerability, and how you found that it was useful for you to be in a group of like-minded women, or journeying together, and having that sisterhood in the journey, so you don't feel so alone in the journey. How would you say, if you think about the program and how we have the healing surgery sessions, right, compared to just talking about your issues, what for you was the distinctive factor from the program that you took away? Is like, yeah, this is it?
So when you just talk about stuff, it's different. When you, because you're an expert in your field, right? So it's like you are able to guide us through those thoughts, that thought process that you're having. I mean, somebody could probably do this by themselves, but it would take them like years longer. By the time I'm 70, then I'm going to get to that point, and I'm going to get there. Do you get what I mean?
True.
Somebody who knows what they're talking is able to analyze your thoughts while you're having them and give you that guidance in understanding your own thought process, where it's coming from, how it's been triggered. Because I think I remember reading something months back, because for me, like I said, this journey's kind of started a while ago. So I remember reading something which was that your thoughts are attached to your feelings, which are attached to memories. I think it was, I can't remember who was it that said it, but at the time I understood it. So I understood it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going through this made me really understand that. Because I'm now looking at myself and saying, okay, I get it. So when I'm having that thought, that negative thought about I can't achieve this, or I procrastinate too much, or I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, that's attached to the feeling that I got
from a particular
when I
memory.
was in that situation. So it's the memory that I'm not necessarily remembering the memory, I'm remembering the feeling.
Yeah.
And the feeling and the thought. And it's changing that thought process. But it was necessary to have the group and to have you to guide each of us through that, and to be able to recognize that and then have the tools to change it.
You know, it's incredible, because on the surface you wouldn't think that you could get the changes that you got in a group format, and that it has to be one-to-one. What would you say that you really got from the collective healing work, as opposed to feeling like you needed to do it one-to-one? Because that was the thing that you said, like, LaYinka, I'm not I'm not sure about this, right? So what would you say was the greatest like benefit that you got from doing it with other women?
I think the apprehension of me not wanting to be a group comes from the fear of being different, the fear of being judged. So being in a group of women, when people are opening up about their own situations, it gives you a sense of, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm not by myself, which we know there's other people who are going through stuff. But it's not until you sit down and you're in that situation and you're hearing somebody else's story, or you're hearing somebody else talk about their feelings in that manner, talk about how their thought process in that manner, that makes you feel like, so I'm not the only one. Okay. And it gives you the sense of comfortability. I can do this. It's not just me. So we're here together. If she can put in the effort to try and change, who am I not to try?
That's so true. You know, when you think about your shifts, because you said that you really feel it, how is that feeling translated outside of yourself in terms of the things that you do, how you are with your family or the people around you? How's there been a shift from that feeling inside to the outside?
I think, I'm not going to act like I'm walking around on cloud nine at the moment. What I would say is different is that for example, a typical conversation with my kids maybe might have gone one way before, but now I'm finding myself using what I've come to understand to help them. Because
Right.
I can recognize that you're feeling a certain way right now, and it's because of this. Or maybe let me ask you a question so I can find out a bit more about what's really going on here. Because now I've got the tools to deal with what I'm dealing with. I need to share that, especially with you, as my children, and then the same with other people. So yesterday, like I said, my friend came around, and the reason why the conversation got started was because of what she was talking about to do with herself. So on reflecting on what I've just been through with the course and what I've learned, it was just automatic. I'm now saying to her, look, babes, you need to look at it this way, and don't take, you're just passing on the little bits of advice and the little bits of information. And before, I think I've always been this person that I can give everybody else the advice, but I don't take it for myself. But now I'm literally taking it on board for myself because I see myself.
Oh, yes. I think seeing yourself has been the most powerful thing for you. And you know, people might be watching things like, what do you mean you don't see yourself? Like, you look in the mirror, you what is seeing yourself for you? Like, define that for people who are hella confused out there. What is seeing yourself and the ability to see yourself?
Seeing yourself, for me, is not being afraid to acknowledge your beauty, your depth, your knowledge, your experiences, and where they've brought you to and who they've made you to be. That's seeing yourself. And then allowing yourself to grow from that, because you don't stop growing. So for me, that's seeing myself. I'm now, okay, I'm looking, I've seen myself, I'm about to take this to the next level. We're leveling up on some Sierra King. That's it.
I love it. I love it. There's so much beauty in seeing yourself. And even from, you know, a faith perspective, seeing yourself, I feel, is allowing yourself to see the one who brought you here, the one who gave you everything, right? Because by denying yourself, you're denying him in some sort of way. And who would, you know, when you say, oh, denying God, you're like, no, I wouldn't be doing that. Like, I believe. Like, but do you really?
Yeah.
Do you really? And how is that manifesting?
I don't know why I even tried to leave out Allah in this. Like, astaghfirullah. Yesterday, when I was on the mat, I was on, like, wallahi, when I was on the prayer mat last night, I was there for time talking to Allah. Like, you don't even know. Like, you know because you know. But
the conversations are different now.
And then, no, I got up and I was like, you still got to pray Isha. Hello. So, yeah, it's different. It's definitely a different feeling. I feel like, I think that was one thing that I spoke to you in our initial conversation as well. And I mentioned that I don't feel like my relationship with Allah is quite there. It's not where I want it to be. And I definitely know that I've got work to do, but it's, again, being a Muslim is a journey within itself.
Yep.
And I definitely feel like I'm better. And I know Allah can change that situation at any time, but I feel like, okay, I've got some tools to deal with this. I know one thing I definitely know is I'm a sign of Allah. And I'm learning from all the other signs.
You know.
I'm a sign of Allah.
When that hit.
Yes. Everything that Allah's created me to be, I'm about to try and walk that path. I'm about to walk that path.
You know how we don't like the word try.
So yeah, definitely. Definitely, it's been a good look. It's been a good look.
Do you know, I kind of want to switch this conversation slightly, because we're both Black women, right? And, you know, Black Muslim women, and I feel like I get a lot of comments and DMs and messages from Black Muslim women who feel that because of our experiences as Black women, that our traumas are so incredibly deep that, like, for us to, for real, to work on. And I'm curious to know, for you, what are your thoughts about your Black experience, your Black Muslim experience, and the importance of healing from emotional wounds that you have accumulated over the years through those experiences?
Gosh, that's a lot.
I know. I wasn't going to bring that into the conversation, but it came to me.
So, I think, as a Black Muslim, I mean, when I first came to Islam, when I first took my shahada 8 years ago, I don't think I really, I mean, you don't really understand what this journey is about to be like at all. And you take the shahada, you're very, you know, you're happy, you're on cloud nine, you're there for about a year, and then it starts to really hit home that this isn't as easy as you think it's going to be. My experience as a Black woman before Islam, I think when you come into Islam, you bring all of that with you, don't you? So you bring all of that baggage, and turning all of that around to have a different perspective on how and why things happen, that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Trauma. I think when we talk about trauma, there's levels to it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think as Black people in general, Muslim or non-Muslim, there's a lot of work to do. I think just as a collective in humanity, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But identifying as a Black woman and speaking as a Black woman from a community, we've got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do when it comes to the trauma that's felt, because when we feel it, when something happens like what happened with George Floyd, we do feel it collectively. We feel it collectively. Everybody's feeling the same thing at the same time. Some will speak about it,
some won't,
lash out, some will get angry, some will internalize it. But does anyone really deal with what's going on there? I personally, on my page, was trying to say a lot about dealing with coming from a point of healing, and I know you were, because I was watching your page. There was a lot of anger, and there still is, and there's going to be. We need to shed that. As a Black Muslim, I know different. As a Muslim, I know that everything's qadr Allah. I know that this world is temporary. I know that nothing really belongs to us. Everything belongs to Allah. So when we marry the two, we meet in a place where it's that, yeah, but this stuff is a liberty, and then it's that, yeah, but it's qadr Allah. It's gonna happen, and maybe it's happening because we need to deal with it. There's stuff that we need to sort out. We need to figure it out. We need to really work individually, though, on ourselves, so that we can help each other as a collective. And I think what a lot of people are doing is walking around as broken people, trying to help as a collective, but not sorting themselves out. Where this journey started for me entirely is last year. I've got into doing community stuff, got into doing community work, and I wanted to. There's things I want to do, so I want to develop a workshop working with young girls, and I went along to volunteer for a group which is called Lambeth Schools Patrol, and during that training we spoke about trauma, and one thing that was mentioned was, as somebody who's a volunteer who's going to be helping other people in the community, you need to deal with your
own
stuff.
You
could very easily get in a situation where you become triggered, and then what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? So you need to deal with that. So for me, that was actually where everything started. I started to really look at, all right, so what's my underlying things here? Because perfect, what's really going on? And that was when I think I reached out to you a couple of months later, and now we're here. So it's definitely something that, as a black woman, as a Muslim, as a human, we need to deal with our trauma, because there isn't a person that hasn't got some kind of trauma. Because like you said, trauma is not just about things like abuse. Obviously, when we think of trauma, we think of abuse. We think of physical, mental, sexual abuse. But it's something as simple as, like you said, being lost in the supermarket at the age of 3 years old, being left by yourself. That's a traumatic event in your life that can lead to you later on down the line being distancing yourself from people because you think they're going to leave you before anything. If you think
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly what you were saying earlier, memories, feelings, thoughts, and how, the brain will have, will develop a belief, an attachment to, okay, anytime someone leaves, that means, anytime someone says something, that means they rejected me. Anytime, because of that initial event that you had, that installed that feeling and that thought. And just, the whole thing with George Floyd, and that, me having to deal with my own like things that came up as a result of that was actually the point that I got over myself and said, you know what, we're doing this healing work, because I've been talking to my team about it for two years or so. Like, yeah, I don't think I'm ready. And I was like, wait, hold on, this isn't even about you. There are people walking wounded who need to work on their emotional wounds. And I've been on this, my own journey of healing for years anyway. But it was just like, was I ready to help other people? And when I realized that this is bigger than me, that's when the Healing Embrace came about, and we were able to turn it out. And I'm grateful that you were of our, first cohort, first batch of ladies who allowed us to take you through the program and really see what a single healing surgery can look like. Because most people think that in order to heal, I need to just talk. And I keep telling people, you really don't. Because you've been talking yourself to death about this situation in your head for the longest time, and it hasn't helped. You're probably talking to people about it as well, and it hasn't helped. So maybe we should do something different. And that's why the healing surgeries, I always say, we're going to tackle it, right? We're going to go in there.
I think the talking about it is more about acknowledgement and more about you feeling like you need somebody to acknowledge that you've been through something. Because for me, I think that was one of my things, was that I felt like I needed to talk about it. And through the whole process, I think I've talked less about anything than anything that's happened. Because to be honest, I've got 101 stories, but I haven't even told really any of it. And I think that is the key. Like, stop thinking about the validating it and getting the acknowledgement for this happened. It happened to you. It definitely did, babes. Let's sort it out. Let's sort out how you're going to process it and deal with what comes from it, what you produce from that situation. So
what would you say to people who are apprehensive of going on a healing journey?
I would say, at some point, you need to decide. You need to make the decision, make that choice, and say, I'm going to do this for myself. It's not for anyone else but yourself. You need to allow yourself to do it. You deserve to do it, because you deserve better for yourself. And you need to believe that. You need to trust that. You need to trust that this instinct of you that's come up right now, that you need to deal with it, is real. Recognize it, and just go for it and do it. Do it, because you're not losing anything by attempting to sort it out. You're only going to better it. You're only going to better yourself and the other people around you that you come in contact with.
Yeah. Oh, you've muted, my love. Yeah, I hear that. There are some women who are going to listen to that and think and not see the importance of healing for themselves, and for those ladies who might be listening and thinking, whatever, it's not even that a big deal. It's not that big a deal. Other people have been through worse. Other people have been through actual traumas. Like, there's nothing that I've been through. I always say, well, look at the impact of where you are on the people around you, and then think about that. Because sometimes we don't see the impact on us, and we think we're okay and we can just get by and we can fake it until we make it. But when you see that actually it's having an impact in how you are with your kids, or with your spouse, or with your colleagues, or with your parents, or with your siblings, then it might be time to check that, like, is it not worth you shifting and making and healing your own trauma, so that you stop laying your traumas onto other people unconsciously and in a way that you didn't recognize, because it does impact people. Even if you're faking it and you're wearing your masks and stuff, your internal traumas will come out in some sort of way.
Yeah.
You know, and I do say that, okay, if it's not for yourself, then do it for them.
Yeah, I think we can easily invalidate our own stuff. A lot of people will. I know I did.
Yeah.
Even in some of the calls, in the surgeries, I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, you've been through nothing compared to other people. But then I had to tell myself, it doesn't matter. You're feeling what you're feeling. You're going through what you're going through. What's happened to you in your life has affected you this way. This is progress for you, and like you said, to that's going to affect the other people around you. It's like a ripple in a pool. It's like you're literally a drop in the ocean, but there's a ripple effect. So you need to, just don't invalidate yourself and what you've been through because you hear that somebody else has been through much worse. You still need to take that because it impacts somehow, some way.
Exactly. That's a massive lesson, a message to give people, because it's not that bad. So it's not that bad. It's often shared. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and just letting us know what it's been like for you, because some people feel apprehensive of going on the journey because, oh my God, what about if I have to deal with things that I don't want to go there. I don't want to re-traumatize myself. I don't want to go back to those instances. But, you had a powerful experience of the thing that you did not want to talk about and did not want to go about. The thing that you repressed with all your might was the very thing that you had to deal with. And I'm so grateful that we got to do that together, and for you to get to the point where you see yourself as absolutely beautiful. And it's been incredible to see you just flourish and
I'm
take
so
it.
grateful that I've been part of the first cohort, because I started speaking to somebody else the other day and she was like, I can't get in, there's no spaces. I was like, girl, what? I'm just glad I've got
You snooze, you lose. Yeah, we keep it small because we want to make sure everyone gets their healing. So yeah, you gotta be quick.
It's a lot. It is a lot as well oh my gosh, the tears. That first session, the tears was actually real. Real.
People were like, we need a towel out here. We need a towel. And you started bringing a towel.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I'm so grateful. I'm proud of you also, because it's not easy to show up. It's not easy to commit and say, do you know what, I'm going to do this. And you did it, and it's been beautiful. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes about for you, how you're going to level up within yourself, within your business, because you do have a business as well, and how that is going to just shine. What's going on inside is going to shine on the outside. I'm so looking forward to it.
Inshallah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm telling you. Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
Wa'iyaki. Thank you. So if anyone is interested in the Healing Embrace, you do need to get in touch with us. We only ever have 6 spaces at a time because we want to keep it small, intimate, and powerful. So you can just go to layinkasanni.com/contact and touch base with me and the team there, and we will talk, inshallah. Thank you again, Ameenah, my love. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.